Right, good morning and welcome again to another interesting program, your program on iDEA TV. I am Gabriel Matthew Seriki. Today we'll be diving into the world of news that we brought to you in trendings from all the newspapers, ranging from the Vanguard, the Tribune, Daily Trust, New Telegraph. We also have the Guardian, the Punch, and lastly we have the Nations. All right, we'll be taking a look at what the papers are trending with that recently came out in the, since yesterday until today. All right, a quick look at the Vanguard. Let's see what the Vanguard has for us this morning. On the front page of the Vanguard, we can see here that on page 4 it says e-transmission of poll results can't replace manual. E-transmission of poll results can't replace manual, says by Tinubu. Then signed amend Electoral Act 2026 into law. This is coming as a fresh news by President Tinubu, signing in the e-transmission poll. It says can be replaced. I mean, the e-transmission polls results can be replaced, and he has already signed in the amendment bill, Electoral Act of 2026 into law. And on page 21, still on the Vanguard this morning, is a failure of institution deterring FDI in Nigeria, says Townley Johnson. Coming from Townley Johnson, it's a failure of institution deterring FDI in Nigeria, says Townley Johnson. Then on main front page, still on the Vanguard, we can see it's all set for the second Niger Delta Games, Edo 2026, 28th to 27th February 2026. I mean, the Niger Delta game that is all set for the to take place on the 20th to 27th of February 2026. We can see the pictures of the athletes there warming up. Then on page 15, we also have APC Congress, second field killed, 5 injured, vehicle burned in Ondo. APC Congress, 2 field killed, 5 injured, vehicle burned in Ondo. That is a sad one. Then we also have on page 10, still on the Vanguard, INEC position on e-transmission of election results. INEC position on e-transmission of election results. It's still coming in on the e-transmission of election results by the INEC there. Then on page 20, Tinubu signs executive order to end NNPC's 30% oil revenue cut. Tinubu signs executive order to end NNPC 30% oil revenue cut. All right, these are the major trending stories on the front page of the Vanguard this morning. Let's quickly move into Tribune to see what Tribune has for us this beautiful morning. All right, on the front page, on page 3 of the Tribune, Tinubu signs Electoral Act 2026. Tinubu signs Electoral Act 2026, and it says, still under the front page, says our law must grow with experience. New law alter INEC February date for presidential NAS election. Then we also have presidential NAS poll to hold in January 2027 coming in from Abbas there. Then we also have our input. We are painstaking thorough by Akpabio. Our input, we are painstaking and thorough coming from Akpabio. Then we also have, still on the front page, on page 3, we have so many captions there. Amendment Electoral Act may undermine transparency, coming in from ex-INEC director. We shall be taking a look into that after the quick recap of the newspaper headline this morning. Then on page 3, still on the front page of the Tribune, we have Owo Church attack witness tells court how cells phone analysis implicated alleged attackers. Still coming in on the case of insurgency and security. It says Owo Church attack witness tells court how cell phone analysis implicated alleged attackers. That is coming in on page 3. Then on page 5, still on the Tribune this morning, it says Tinubu signs executive order for direct remittance of oil, gas revenue to Federation account. Tinubu signs executive order for direct remittance of oil, gas revenue to Federation account. Then on page 4, coming in as on the head story there, on page 4, see on the down page of the Tribune, it says artificial sweater people at high risk of heart attack, stroke, coming in from by study. I mean, by a researcher of a study. There it says artificial sweater puts people at high risk of heart attack and stroke. I mean, you can grab the paper to know how artificial sweater, I mean, can put people on a high risk of attack and stroke. I mean, it's such an interesting story to look into the in health issues. All right, on page 3, still on the Tribune, the down page, we have I have my eyes on Ogun 2027, says Lemo, ex-CBN deputy. I have my eyes on Ogun 2027, says Leno, ex-CBN deputy. And we can see the picture of our president there signing the electoral law into signing the electoral act of 2026. We can see him sitting down there doing the signing. All right, a quick to the up page of City Tribune. On page 4, we have 33 miners dies in tunnel in Plateau. 33 miners dies in tunnel in Plateau. Then under it we have FG closes seats. Dispatches forensic investigators. FG closes site, dispatches forensic investigators. I mean, the site has to be closed due to the 33 miners that lost their life in the tunnel in Plateau State. All right. Then on page 2, still on the Tribune this morning, 2 killed during Ondo APC World Congress. 2 killed during Ondo APC World Congress. That is it coming in on the front page of Tribune, on page 2 on the up page. Then a quick look at the Daily Trust. Let's see what the Daily Trust has for us this morning. On the front page of the Daily Trust, the leading story here is electoral law signed, transparency question linger. Electoral law signed, transparency question linger. I mean, still coming in as the electoral law that has been signed recently by the President Tinubu into electoral law of 2026. I mean, there's so many questions lingering of transparency and so many things attached to it. Then under it we have it is time that we all have confidence in our system. No matter how good a system is, it's managed by the people, promoted by the people, and result is finalized by the people. In fact, for final result, you are not going to be talking to the computer. You are going to be talking to human beings who announces the results coming from the President Tinubu. That is his own take on the electoral law that's been signed. And people are now talking about the transparency and the question that lingers. And we will be taking a look into that after a quick recap of this newspaper this morning. All right, still on the headline on the Daily Trust, on the up page of the Daily Trust, we have 16 months after federal government frees S session launches state lag. 16 months after federal government free C section launches state lag. All right, a quick look at that to see what the paper is saying regarding the 16 months after federal government free C-session launch and the state still lag. All right, then still on the front page, we have how 38 miners dies in Plateau. I mean, on the other page, we are seeing on the Tribune, we saw that 33 people lost their life, and here now we are seeing on that one 38. I mean, these are people's life, and they lost their life in miners in Plateau State. That was yesterday. Then still on the front page of the Daily Trust, another Nigeria fighting for Russia capture in Ukraine. Another Nigeria fighting for Russia captured in Ukraine. All right, that is the major front caption of the Daily Trust this morning. Then quickly moving down the paper of the Daily Trust, we can see, I think this is Ramadan, and people are already breaking their fast. I think the Ramadan started yesterday, and we can see Muslims there. Then under it, we have DSS detain El-Rufai as EFCC grant ex-governor bail. DSS detained El-Rufai as EFCC grants ex-governor bail. Then under it, we also have female banker jailed 10 years for fraud. Female banker jailed 10 years for fraud. Then we also have 8 soldiers killed in terrorist raid. 8 soldiers killed in terrorist raid. I mean, this is a whole lot of headlines on the front page, leading the front page this morning on Daily Trust. Then on the last, still the down page of the Daily Trust, we have skin bleaching exposes 160 million Nigerians to cancer, liver failure. Skin bleaching exposes 168 million Nigerians to cancer and liver failure. I mean, a quick look at that to see what most of this cream, embalmed cream, are causing to the human body, and how we can see that it can cause liver problem and the cancer of the skin. All right, a quick look at what the New Telegraph is saying this morning. That is our next paper, the New Telegraph. On the front page of the New Telegraph this morning, kudos, that is coming on page 3, 5, and 6. It says, which is talking about the election, which is 2027 election. It says ahead 2027 polls. That is the caption. Ahead 2027 poll. They will now have kudos. Knocks as Tinubu signed amendment electoral bill into law. Kudos knocks as Tinubu signed amendment electoral bill into law. And we can see on there we also have says we need to avoid glitch lacking. And he also says we did thorough job. Nigeria will be happy, as coming in from Akpabio. That's Akpabio saying that. Then presidential NAS election to hold in January, coming in from Abbas. Presidential NAS election to hold on January, coming in from Abbas. Then we also have it is said day for democracy, says PDP, as lawmakers forum hail Tinubu NAS. That is coming on the front page of the New Telegraph this morning. Then on the up page of the New Telegraph this morning, we have NSA demand adequate fund for enhanced national security. NSA demand adequate fund for enhanced national security. And we can see the picture of Ribado there. Then close to it on page 3, we have FCT poll. INEC accredited 89 observers, 72 media organizations. FCT polls. INEC accredit 89 observers, 72 media organizations. Then on page 4, still on the New Telegraph this morning, we have delay in release of fund undermine justice reform, coming from AGF. It's a delay in release of fund undermine justice reform, coming from AGF. Then close to it we have UTME JAMB insists no extension for February 2026 deadline. That is coming from UTME JAMB. JAMB insists no extension for February 2026 deadline. All right, these are the major caption on the New Telegraph this morning. Then on the up page, where we have on page 7, it says federal government suspend payment of 30% on profit to NNPC Limited. Federal government suspend payment of 30% on profit to NNPC Limited. Then still on the up page of the New Telegraph, we have power generation. Nigeria faces more risk over unpaid 6 trillion invoices. Power generation, Nigeria faces more risk over unpaid 6 trillion invoices. I mean, these are the major trending story on the front page of the New Telegraph this morning. Then quickly moving down by the right of the New Telegraph on page 9 and page 10, we have Organic Nigerian needs electoral system that will curb manipulation at polling units, collation center. Coming from page 9 and page 10 there. Then on page 4, still on the New Telegraph, 4 firefighters, pastor injured as explosion rock New York church. That is a sad one there. 4 firefighters, pastor injured as explosion rock New York church. All right, that is coming on page 4, still on the New Telegraph this morning. Then on the front page, we can see the Electoral Act that has been signed into law by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. We can see the picture of Akpabio there and dignitaries are standing on the front line there. Then on page 2, on the down page, still on the New Telegraph, Lent Ramadan starting same day show, both faith share lots in common. Tinubu. Lent Ramadan starting same day show, both faith shows Ramadan starting same day shows both faith share lots in common, which is coming from President Tinubu. Then on page 30, on page 4 and page 6, still on the New Telegraph, where we have Plateau miners site tragedy. Plateau miners site tragedy still coming as the people that lost their life, about 33 of them. And here now we are seeing suspected gas leak killed 37 and 25 others hospitalized. Plateau mining site tragedy. Suspected gas leak killed 37, 25 others hospitalized. This is coming as a case of the tragedy that happened on the mining site. All right, then on the down page, still on the New Telegraph, on page 29, where we brought to you that babies are exposed to more forever chemical before birth. Coming from a study, it said babies are exposed to more forever chemicals before birth, coming on Health Day, says by study. All right, let's quickly move into the next paper to see what the papers are saying. On the Guardian this morning, on the front page of the Guardian, leading story there is 2027 credibility battle shift to INEC as Tinubu sign amendment Electoral Act. Coming on page 6 of the Guardian this morning. On the front page of the Guardian, 2027 credibility battle shift to INEC as Tinubu signs amendment Electoral Act. Then under we have Electoral Bill 2026 comprehensive public guide. We can see so many charts there that we can't go through a lot of them. Just quickly grab a paper on that to see the 2027 credibility battle shift to INEC as Tinubu signs amendment Electoral Act. Then on page still on page 30, still on the Guardian this morning, it says FCT polls, INEC pledges e-transmission of results. FCT polls, INEC pledge e-transmission of results. And on page 29, still on the Guardian this morning, mixed reaction, protest, trail data, APC World Congress. Mixed reaction, protest, trail data, APC World Congress, coming in on page 29. Then on page 5, still on the Guardian, it says GYM-GOER rejects NLC's extortion claim, says sector battling 6 trillion unpaid bills. GYM-GOER rejects NLC's extortion claims, says sector battling 6 trillion unpaid bills. Then on page 3, still on the Guardian this morning, Tinubu orders NNPC to remit oil revenue to FAAC as rig count stagnates. Tinubu orders NNPC to remit oil revenue to FAAC as rig counts stagnated. All right, then on page 6, we have Telco rejects objection to e-result transmission, insists on national coverage. Telco rejects objection to e-result transmission, insists on national coverage. These are most of the trending stories on the front page of the Guardian, Guardian newspaper this morning, leading with so many captions and so many interesting stories. A quick look at the up page, still on the Guardian this morning, where we see the picture of Peter Obi, where he says OPEC, which is IPAC, Obi flies police clamp down, tear gas of protesters at National Assembly, which is IPAC, Obi flee police clamp down, tear gas of protesters at National Assembly. All right, then we'll have, just close to it, we have Holy Month, Tinubu, Obi urge spiritual reflection, commitment to share humanity. The month of Ramadan. The Ramadan started yesterday. The fasting started yesterday, and President Tinubu is coming out to say President Tinubu and Obi has urged spiritual reflection, commitment to share humanity. All right. Then on page 3, still on the Guardian, reps fault poor funding of security intelligence. Reps fault poor funding of security intelligence. These are major captions of newspaper this morning on the Guardian. A quick look at what the Punch is saying before we go to the last paper of the day. On the front page of the Punch this morning, on page 2, on the front page, it says Electoral Act 2026. Electoral Act 2026. Tinubu defend assent. Opposition raise hell. Then under it we have PDP, LP raise red flag. Tinubu defies protests as APC predict credible polls. That is coming on the major front page of the Punch this morning. Then on the up page, on page 37, on page 4, page 4 and page 5 of the Punch, it says federal government seals Plateau mine after gas leak killed 37. See, coming on the sad tragedy that happened yesterday on the mining site in Plateau State. People lost their lives. All right. Then on the up page, on page 2, still on the Punch, where we see the picture of El-Rufai there, it's a ICPC grade El-Rufai over EFCC release. Then we also have on page 7, still on the Punch this morning, it's a FCT pool, 3,345 beavers deployed, movement restricted. FCT pool, 3,345 beavers deployed, movement restricted. See coming on the front page of the Punch. Then close to it we have FX for businesses travel soar by 366% to $672 million. FX for business travel soars by 366% to $672 million. Then a quick look at the front page of leading the story this morning on the Punch. You can see the picture of still the president, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with Akpabio standing there, signing the Electoral Act into law. And on the down page, on page 30, still on the Punch this morning, it says, widow, late Nigerian boxer's family clash over estate. Widow, late Nigerian boxer's family clash over estate. All right, a quick look at that to see the reasons why they are clashing over estate. Then 2 killed in Ondo, APC bloody Congress. That is coming on page 14. 2 killed in Ondo, APC bloody Congress. Then on page 14, still on the Punch this morning, which is our last paper on Punch, it says Ramadan lends Tinubu Atiku government preach unity. Ramadan lends Tinubu Atiku government preaches unity. All right, see, talking about the Ramadan that started for the Muslims. All right, quickly moving to the next paper of the day, which is the last paper we have before we come back to look at most of the trending stories and most of the analysis behind it. All right, on the Nation this morning, let's quickly look at the Nation. The Nation newspaper is trending with Electoral Act 2026 goes into effect. We can see the picture of the president there signing the Electoral Act bill into law, and on that's coming in on the front page of the Nation this morning. Then on page 3, on the up page, we have miners tragedy. Aleke orders closure of sites despite investigators. I mean, still coming on the case of the miners that lost their lives, which is about 37 of them. Then still on the front page of the Nation, we have EO, OK's direct remittance of oil, gas revenue. EO, OK's direct remittance of oil, gas revenue. Then quickly, okay, still on the front page of the Electoral Act 2026 that goes into effect, we also saw that President signed a network bill. Reworked bill, pardon. President signs reworked bill. Then we also have another caption. INEC gets leeway to review election timetable. INEC gets leeway to review election timetable. Then we also have election can now hold in January. Elections can now hold in January. I mean, so the major caption there. Then on the down page, still on the Nation this morning, which is our last paper, on the down page, on page 7, we have ex-UN chief orders to lead $2 billion Nigerian mining finance group, which is ex-UN chief orders to lead $2 billion Nigerian mining finance group. All right, these are the major trending stories we brought to you today on the Nation. Quickly moving to the up page of the Nation this morning on page 3. Failure to protect investors determine FDI, says Townley Johnson. Failure to protect investors determine FDI, says Townley Johnson. All right, that is coming on the front page. Then we have on page 27, APC hold World Congress nationwide. APC hold World Congress nationwide. Then on page 2, still on the Nation this morning, DSS arrest El-Rufai after release by EFCC. DSS arrest El-Rufai after release by EFCC. Then we also have JAMB register over 1.5 million for 2026 UTME. All right, let's quickly go on a quick break now. When we come back, we'll continue with the rest of the newspaper review. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Augmented Connected Workforce. The Augmented Connected Workforce leverages remote collaboration tools, AI insights, and wearable devices to enhance productivity. This trend is especially relevant in the era of hybrid work models where teams need to collaborate from different locations. Tools like Zoom and Microsoft Teams have become essential for communication, while wearable tech monitors worker health and safety. However, companies must balance employee privacy with performance tracking to avoid ethical concerns. The workforce management tools market is forecasted to grow to $9.3 billion by 2026. There you have it, the 20 game-changing technology trends shaping the future as we speak.
All right, you are welcome back. If you're still tuning with us, this is iDEA TV, and today we brought to you the newspaper review on the trending stories that has taken place in the last 24 hours. All right, looking at the Vanguard this morning, we brought to you on the front page that all set for the second Niger Delta game holding in Edo 2026. And we can see the picture of the athletes there already set for the second Niger Delta games in Edo on 2026 to commence on the 20th to 27th of February 2026. The second Niger Delta game is a regional multi-sport competition. Bringing together athletes from the 9 producing states of the Niger Delta. And we also see that the game are hosted in Benin City, Edo State, scheduled to run from February 20th to February 27th. 2026. It's sponsored by the Niger Delta Development Commission, which is the NDDC, and organized by Dunamis Icon Limited under the team Beyond Oil, Harnessing Talent. I love this caption, Beyond Oil and Harnessing Talent. And we can see most of it's of different sport, different sport aspects, both in basketball, football, athletes. It's just combined together, and we can see that it's being hosted and to commence on the 20th and to 27th of February. Hosting and preparation. Edo State won the right to host the second edition, chosen for its facilities and readiness to deliver a memorable sporting festival. Edo State has been on it back to back when it comes to athletes. Delivering on their own side. They have been meeting up on the games that has to do with putting athletes and sports together. Teams from states such as Akwa Ibom, Abia, Ondo, Delta are in final preparation camp. Training intensive to complete. This is such a huge one. We can't wait to see the outcome of the athletes, second athletes Niger Delta game, soon to commence on the 20th, which is tomorrow, and to 27th of February. Then a quick look at what the president has to say about the e-transmission of pool results. This is how he says e-transmission of pool results can't replace manual. Coming from President Tinubu there. Let's take a quick look why he said e-transition of polls results can't replace manual, of which there has been serious debate that e-transmission of result should be in place because it's more easier. There are countries that are practicing e-transmission of results of polling units. Of results, and they are functioning well. Countries like Brazil, countries like Canada, Argentina. These are countries that countries like Bangkok. They practice e-transmission and it's very smooth. So the president has come in to say that the e-transmission of poll results can replace manual. All right, let's see his reasons here. He says, according to Vanguard, all right, this is according to Vanguard, Tinubu cites the 2026 Electoral Act Amendment. All right. Into law and stressed that electronic transmission of result is supportive, but not a replacement for manual collation. Tinubu signed the 2026 Electoral Act Amendment into law and stressed that electronic transmission of result is supportive, but not in replacement of manual collation. All right, and he also goes on to say, he says he argued that election depends on people, human oversight, management, and trust. And so results must still be announced and verified by human at polling units, not solely by computer. I mean, these are the major his major points on this aspect, and people have a lot of say on this. As in, people has a lot of say on this. All right, and he still continues to say, according to Tinubu, he said technology helps, but does not substitute the core manual process. Sure, this is actually true, because it's still the human that will go and collect and announce the result. So what he's saying here, quite all right, is of a good interest, and of what he's saying here explains about the collation of e-transmission and manual together. All right, it says voting and counting are done manually. All right, so these are the major reason why he has come in to say you cannot remove the manual collation, which is the manual way of voting, to completely replace by e-transmission, of which most of the law has come out to say, people has come out to say that they prefer the e-transmission of results, and there's still heavy arguments on that. All right, and this is what the president he's all saying. I think what the president is saying here has some basis, fundamental stronghold here, because definitely people that goes out to vote, definitely, if the machines are doing the voting, quite all right. But there will be people that will analyze, like they will give the election final result. I mean, I think the computer can also do that, but they see the people that will put in the voting counts there. All right, so this is what the president is saying on that aspect of e-transmission of poll result that can be replaced by manual. All right. Then on the front page of the Tribune, where we saw that Tinubu cites Electoral Act 2026. Tinubu signed the Electoral Act 2026, where we see that there's so much uproar again on the 2026 Electoral Act that has been signed into law. All right. So these are the major trending stories. Let's quickly look at. Still on the Tribune, you see the same story still on the Tribune about the electoral. Tinubu signed the Electoral Act of 2026 into law. All right, let's quickly look at Daily Trust. I think this on the front page of the Daily Trust, the electoral law signed transparency question lingers. I mean, looking at the Daily Trust here, why the electoral law signed, as in there has been a transparency question lingered on this aspect, and we can see from this side here, it says core issues. I mean, the core issues of transparency question that had lingered. It says transmission versus manual collation. I mean, a major transparency concern heightens in Daily Trust is that the Amendment Electoral Act does not make live electronic transmission of results from polling unit fully mandatory. I mean, with what he's saying is quite correct. I mean, looking at this, that a major transparency concerns heightening according to Daily Trust, is that the Amendment Electoral Act does not make live electronic transmission of results from polling unit fully mandatory. Then we also have, it says, real-time public visibility of results. A tool civil society group and observers have stressed as key to reducing manipulation. I mean, it's not fully guaranteed by the law. I mean, these are the major reasons, the questioning of the transparency question that had lingered seriously. We also have political and public reaction. Let's look at the political and public reaction, where it says there has been a significant pushback from a civic group and activists who argued that abandoning strict real-time electronic transmission dilutes accountability and trust in the system, especially in light of past glitches with the IEV's portals. I mean, due to the past experiences that we have during, I still remember the IEV portals, that at times the network will not be there, and these things has caused some glitches in the flow and the frequency of e-transmission of results. And they also says many Nigerians, and let's look at the other reactions here. It says many Nigerians expected the new Electoral Act to comment strongly transparency and safeguard. Transparency safeguard. Okay, it has its particularly after controversies in previous election because the law retained manual feedback options. Transparency critics feels the reform fault short of their potentials. I mean, these are the major reasons why the transparency question lingers under the electoral law signed by the president. All right, let's quickly look into what this a particular story on the Punch. Let's take a look at the Punch. On the Punch, it says, "Why Tinubu defend assent? Opposition raise hell." There's a caption. Okay, on the front page of the Punch, it says, "Tinubu defend assent. Opposition raise hell." A quick look at why Tinubu has to defend assent, which is the major caption here, is Electoral Act 2026. Tinubu defends assent. Opposition raises hell. All right, a quick look at why Tinubu has to do that. It says, one, we have Tinubu signed the Electoral Act of 2026 amendment into law on February 18th, 2026, just about 24 hours after it was passed by the National Assembly. And his defense focuses on practical concern about Nigerian current infrastructure. He noted that broadband and technical capacity are yet not strong enough for reliable real-time electronic transmission of election results from polling units nationwide. I mean, these are his aim and his reason why he's defending the assent opposition raising hell. He also says, frame, according to Tinubu here, he says, frame the law as a balance. Tinubu framed the law as a balance, using technology to support transparency while retaining manual collation of results where technology fails, and to avoid disenfranchisement or logistical breakdown that could compromise election. I mean, these are his major reasons and major aims why he raised hell on defend on assent. All right, I was also say here that they see it as asset, as a setback for democracy. All right, these are major reasons, and there are so many more reasons here that you can quickly look at and digest on the Tinubu defense asset opposition that is raising hell. And we can see that the Electoral Act has been signed into law of the 2026, and so many question lingers on the air. All right, these are more and news that we brought across your way today on the newspaper review on iDEA TV. Do it a time to know to stay tuned. Stay with us on this time. I am Gabriel Matthew Sewiki. Thank you for your time.